Hello, family history writers, and welcome back to this week's edition of Storylines. Here in Southern Ontario, it is a very cold and wintry day. And these kinds of days, this season, makes me think about reflection, slowing down to really be with our stories and understand what they need. So let's dive into that a little bit more. So today, I want to talk about the season of returning. It's all about slowing down and taking time to reflect on your work. We spend the whole year chasing our word counts and pages and deadlines, which is noble, but a little reflection, a little slowing down can be also quite valuable. I think every creative year has a turning point, a moment when the light changes and we realize we're not meant to be sprinting. The air feels a little heavier, quieter, and the calendar starts to fill, but our hearts start to crave space. And for writers, let's call this the season of returning. It's not about rushing to finish your project or forcing the words onto the page. It's about circling back to your story, to your voice, your reason for writing. The season of returning is a gentle pause between what has been written and what's still waiting to be said. Writing has its own seasons, doesn't it? There's the planting season, when ideas spark faster than we can catch them. There's the growing season, when we're deep in the pages, learning discipline, routine, and structure. And then there's the harvest, those gratifying moments when we complete something, share it, celebrate. But what follows harvest? Stillness, regeneration, a return to the soil. That's what this time is for. It's the creative composting stage, when the best thing you can do for your story is to give it air and warmth and patience. When we return to our stories, we don't just look at the words, we look at the person who wrote them. We notice where we've grown, where we've resisted, and where we've changed our minds. Sometimes we even discover that the story we started months ago isn't really about what we thought at all. It's in this season that writers often uncover the deeper heartbeat, the emotional truth that was whispering beneath the facts or the outline. And you can't find that truth when you're rushing. You find it when you return. Now, I know for some of us, slowing down feels uncomfortable. We spent all year measuring progress in our pages and word counts. Stepping back feels like losing ground. But the truth is, the page doesn't forget you. When you pause, you're not abandoning the work. You're allowing it to breathe so it can come back clearer, stronger, and more honest. Sometimes the best revision doesn't happen in the document at all. It happens in our thinking. It happens in the way we start to see our characters or our ancestors with more compassion and complexity. This is also why I love the word retreat. It doesn't mean giving up. It means stepping out of the noise long enough to hear your own voice again. A retreat can be a week in Tuscany or an hour on your porch. What matters is the intention, the willingness to come back to your story without distraction or expectation. When you create that kind of space, you stop trying to fix the story and start listening to it. You stop pushing for the next milestone and start asking, what does this story want to become? That's where the magic happens. Not in the rush, but in the return. Not long ago, I opened an old draft I hadn't touched in quite some time. I expected to cringe, but instead I had a little smile. The sentences weren't perfect by any means, but I could see my courage in them. I could see where I had reached for something before I fully knew how to say it. And suddenly, that older version of me, the one who wrote those messy pages, didn't feel so far away. She felt like a companion, someone who had been keeping the story warm until I was ready to finish it. That's the beauty of returning. The story has been waiting for you all along. So this week, I want to invite you to slow down just a little, open a notebook, revisit a forgotten scene, or sit quietly with your thoughts about your story. And ask yourself, what part of my writing wants to be seen again? What part of me is ready to come home to the page? Over the next few weeks, I'll be talking more about what it means to create this kind of space, to honor your writing rhythm, and prepare for a new creative season. But for now, just give yourself permission to return, because sometimes the most important way forward is back. I want to thank you for joining me this week for Storylines, and I'll see you back here next week.